Absolutely crazy storm. Typically, when you're thinking of planning your vacations, talking about me too, you think early July should still be pretty fine. You don't think about this, but that's not what's happening if you're going to the Caribbean.
Indeed.
Well, time has run out for the Windward Islands to prepare. In today's big landfall, we're watching that next system that's behind Beryl. Lots of focus on Beryl, as there should be, but your eyes might go straight to Invest 96L as well. You can see Tropical Depression Chris there impacting the eastern portions of Mexico, and of course Hurricane Beryl, as we've talked about. Tropical Depression Chris with the winds at 35 miles an hour, moving west at 12 miles per hour now. It made landfall overnight, and it brought very, very heavy rain with it. It is starting to dissipate. It's going to continue weakening. That is the trend that we're expecting. That high future forecast radar shows you we're still going to have some rain moving through, filtering its way up into those mountainous regions, but overall it's going to be on the downward trend, still dropping maybe a few inches of rain, which comes into play when we've already seen quite a bit of rain across portions of eastern Mexico from Alberto, and then we're going to add more onto that, so that ground is already pretty wet. We've got Alberto, we've got Beryl, Chris. The next system that could get a name would be Debbie, and then of course Ernesto. We're off and running with hurricane season. So we've got to keep a look at Invest 96L. Now, we've actually just seen the possibilities of this developing kind of lowered a little bit, but that doesn't mean you want to let your guard down. You can see it here. We've definitely seen messier Invest. To say that it's still an Invest, I would say this is actually not a bad looking Invest. And as this continues to move westward, it is going to be impacting moderately favorable conditions for the possibility of some development, maybe a tropical depression by the middle of next week. Right now, a medium chance of that. You'll notice that it's following right behind Beryl. Typically, when we're talking about this, we're talking about how those very strong hurricanes are going to kind of well up some of the cooler water that might impact these storms. But this water's been so warm for so long, so that's maybe not as playing as much of a role as it typically would. You can see our development region once again. Interest in the Lesser Antilles are going to have to pay close attention to this Invest. And as you notice, Alex, we are very, very far from being over with hurricane season. In fact, we're still far from the peak, and we've got some pretty impressive systems already.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those percentages come down.
I can attest to that. I've been in Hawaii kind of in whale watching season, and it can get so windy, and it can really kind of change the day. We want to hear your story. Head to Threads and send us your comments, your pics, your video. We want to see all of it.
Morning headquarters. All eyes, no doubt, are on this extremely dangerous Hurricane Beryl. There you can see the satellite view here behind us. Dangerous storm, and boy, getting very, very close here in terms of where that eye wall is to the islands there. You got St. Vincent there just to the north, Grenadines that trail back to the south, and Grenada as well, right in that path of this hurricane. Oh, man,
you can see it when it was going through its eye wall replacement. You can see at the beginning of the loop those striations of the storm breathing. It's just, this is a monster of a storm.
Yeah, and it'd be one thing if it were like the middle of September, but it's late June, early July. And to find something like that in this part of the world, it's just something, Dr. Postel, you just don't see.
Yeah.
It is a rarity, no doubt about that. And like many tropical cyclones, the damaging and most destructive winds are compactly encircling the center. And I can show you that with some of the surface observations, guys. Thank you very much. Let's have a look at what
every day we're seeing some of those like record numbers of TSA folks getting screened through the TSA.
Yeah, I'm like, where are you all going? Where are we all? But this should be a really big travel week. If you're, say, headed to Dallas, or you're in Dallas and you're prepping for your 4th of July week, maybe you're taking the week off for the holiday. It is going to be a hot one until we introduce some storms on Friday. Even 91 is still hot, but it's not the 102, 101 that you're getting, and that is in the shade. So when you've got 101 sunny conditions and some humidity around, it's going to feel even hotter. As Alex was mentioning, where we have some of those drier conditions as well, you want to keep that in mind. It could be unsafe to set off some of those fireworks if it's extraordinary dry. So just watch that. If you're traveling today, we've got that risk for severe storms across portions of the northern plains. We've got that risk for a few storms for places like Florida as well. So if you are doing any type of air travel, that could be impacted for major hubs like, say, Orlando. Of course, looking up toward MCI, where we have that chance for some storms as well today. Heading into tomorrow, we keep that risk for severe storms. We actually up it a little bit, and we keep it across some portions of the same region, the Central Plains over into the Mississippi River Valley. That risk for an isolated tornado can't be ruled out for cities like Kansas City. But you'll notice Dallas, that's where we've got the heat going on. We've still got the heat across the Four Corners Corners region. That risk for some delays on the airways as well. The roadways going to be where we have that severe storm action tomorrow and once again along the Gulf Coast. Heading into Wednesday, maybe you're taking off Wednesday for 4th of July on Thursday. We've got some scattered storms across the plains up through the Ohio River Valley, and then once again keeping a close eye on the Gulf Coast region for some scattered storms. Your typical summertime pattern could be impacting you there across Florida on Wednesday. And then for 4th of July, widespread rain. Alex, we're going to have to watch that forecast closely for those people trying to plan their fireworks. Well, don't forget our question of the day.
Let's talk about what makes Beryl so special here. That's in today's Coffee Talk as we focus in on this historical hurricane right now.
It's set a lot of records, you know, for being early, for being so strong, for intensifying so quickly. You can go on and on about Beryl, and it is happening all in an environment that is allowing it to happen, with water temperatures and the atmospheric parameters also giving it the green light.
You know, Dr. Postel, typically when we think especially about systems forming in the MDR, that's happening way later in hurricane season. When we look at this, do you think it's anything that is an implication as to what later hurricane season might look like?
It might.